afternoon, and thanks to you for tuning in to Them Bahamians, an arm of the Bahamian American Cultural Society. And we are coming to you through the facilities of Manhattan Neighborhood Network here in Manhattan. But eventually, in the week, as we are scheduled, we'll be bringing you from the Bronx and from the other boroughs of New York City. We have assembled this afternoon a very important panel, important especially to the younger people of New York City, probably ages 17 to 30, who are struggling to attain employment and education and experiencing difficulty in meeting those goals and becoming a constructive member of society, which we would like you to become. We have assembled here this afternoon experts and people who are practicing in the field of educational opportunities and for that population, and people who are caregivers and are encouraged to listen to this program because you will get ideas and practical pointers as to what you should do if you fall into this category. And to introduce the panel this afternoon, I would like for them to introduce themselves. They themselves know themselves better than I do. And so let me begin by saying that I'm Wendell Edgecombe, and I'll be your host this afternoon and for this panel. So can we begin with Dr. Graham?
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. My name is John Graham, and I serve as the Executive Director for the Manhattan Educational Opportunity Center.
Okay. Yes.
Hi, my name is Susan Perkins, and I'm delighted to be here as well. And I'm the Director of Programs and Services of the University Center for Academic and Workforce Development. And that center is headed by Lisa McKay, who is the Associate Provost and Director of the University Center of Academic and Workforce Development.
Very good.
Good afternoon. I am Thomas Jordan, the Executive Director of the Bronx EOC. And I, too, am also very pleased to be here this afternoon.
Good afternoon. I am Kyria Ali. I am the Executive Director of the State University of New York Queens Educational Opportunity Center, administered by York College.
You, please.
Hello, I'm Jacinth Hansen. I'm the Executive Director of Brooklyn Educational Opportunity Center, and I'm also happy to be here.
Very good. I am sure that you all have a lot of comments to make and pointers and to explain to the kids, the children, and the parents of New York City what your program is all about. It is it's called EOC program, but you will explain what that means and what the details in that category. And so, Dr. Graham, what exactly is the EOC stands for?
Well, the EOC stands for Educational Opportunity Centers. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to yield to my colleague Jacinth. But before doing so, I just want to give our audience a sense of what the numbers look like. The state of New York has approximately 20 million people. It's like 19.4 million people in the state. And New York City has about maybe 9 million people, depending on the time of the day. Well, within that composition, there's about 3 million people that are trying to derive a livelihood every single day without a high school equivalency, or what used to be called a GED. That's a serious number that cannot be ignored. And then you couple that number with the fact that 37,000 students from high school drop out every year. And that number spills into this almost 3 million. And so the work that we do is virtually, on close examination, it's real serious work. And I think that all of us on this panel and those of us who may not be on the panel recognize how important the work it is that we do. So I just wanted to give you that backdrop with the numbers, and I'll let Jacint talk a little bit more about our point of entry, and then I'll come back.
Right, right, right. You are from Albany?
Yes.
You're from Albany. So would you explain for us and for the audience, how did we get to this point? The origin of there's a legislation that many years ago that brought this to the fore, that recognizes that if we need to do something with the younger people in order to get them interested in education and to get them started, and how they started, and it was statewide. Albany, Buffalo, New York City, especially, let me tell you, especially people of the brown people, black and brown people, especially that population was needy. And I remember the Arthur Eve,
Yeah.
who was Deputy Speaker of the Assembly. He was instrumental in bringing this to the fore of New York State and New York City, especially, that something needs to be done, and he engineered this legislation through Albany to bring this practically to the people of New York State, that we need to do something if we need to survive as a progressive city.
Yes.
And he brought that to the junction. Could you relate to that? Give us a little.
Sure. Arthur Eve is just he's the father of opportunity programs, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here.
Okay.
Because of the work that he spearheaded and the people who were able to listen to his message and become engaged by his message, we have EOP programs, educational opportunity programs. We have the EOCs, the Educational Opportunity Centers that Dr. Graham just spoke of, and we also have the STEP program, the Science, Technology, and Entry program that's throughout New York State that focuses more on younger people in grade school ages 7 through 12, and focuses on encouraging them in the STEM or science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. And so the office that I work for, the University Center for Academic and Workforce Development, which provides administrative oversight for
Yes.
the educational opportunity centers, and also the ATTAIN labs, which ATTAIN stands for Advanced Technology, Training, and Information Networking Labs. And each EOC, or Educational Opportunity Center, has an ATTAIN lab. And there are 10 EOCs throughout New York State, and as you spoke about, they span all across New York State, Long Island, all the way up to Buffalo. And as you may know, and I'm not sure if our audience is aware, but the center, actually the building, we have a Buffalo EOC, but there's a building that's been named for our
Yes,
father of
yes.
opportunity programs, Arthur Eve. So there's a long history.
The regular host of this program attended the dedication of the building in Buffalo for Arthur Eve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yes.
So it's such a rich history, and there's so much more work to be done. As Dr. Graham, talked about the numbers and the people who need to be served, and so our work is to continue the work that the Deputy Speaker started, and to make sure that we are being student focused and making sure that we're serving people whether they are 16 years of age on through adulthood, and to make sure that they're getting access to high school equivalency programs, vocational programs, allied health programs. They might be interested in nursing. They might be interested in opening up their own child care business. And we're also, as I'm sure Deputy Speaker Eves would be very proud of the fact that we are making inroads for people who, if they're interested in getting into a career, we have support for them. If they're interested in taking that high school equivalency diploma and moving on into higher education, we have support for them as well. So we like to, as Associate Provost McKay likes to say, we are a best kept secret, and we're just so pleased that today we get a chance to talk more about that.
Right. Well, I know we no longer want you to be a secret, and thank you very much for that overview of how the legislation, how this program gets started, and I did that because I want the young people, the 16 to 30 years old or something, to know that you are not forgotten. And here today, this panel is demonstrative of the interest that we have in you, and don't feel abashed, or don't feel as though we are not interested in you. That we are putting our brains to work, and the people have put the brains to work so that we can have a better life to live. And what I want to do is continue the overview of the program. How do you access this program? You want to advance your education, advance your career, want to get knowledge, skills. How do you access the program? Anyone wants to put that? How do you access it?
So, EOCs in New York City are in all the boroughs except Staten Island. We're also
I'm saying to interrupt because I will interrupt you. EOC, would please.
Educational Opportunity Centers.
Thank you very much.
Are in all the boroughs except Staten Island, and they're also upstate. And all of the EOCs share the same mission, which is to reach out to underserved academically and economically New York State residents. So to access our programs, you must be a New York State resident for at least 1 year, and you must be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident or have refugee status, and you must be low income. So all the EOCs offer tuition-free training for English as a second language, for a high school equivalency, for college preparation, and also for vocational and career and technical training. Each EOC may have different types of career training program, but each EOC has something for everybody.
When you say low income, what are you talking about? How much, what?
In New York City, we would say if you're earning below $40,000, you're low income. But throughout the state, on average, the people who come to Educational Opportunity Centers are earning about $16,000 a year.
So
and again, that varies depending upon the number of people in the household. So if you had someone who was making $40,000, however, had 10 people in the household, that begins to fluctuate and determine.
I see. So if I have a Medicaid card, I'm eligible.
Basically,
is that correct?
Most people who are on some kind of social service would be eligible.
Most people,
yes.
I think the most important message really is to inspire individuals to come into one of our educational opportunity centers and sit down and talk to our enrollment personnel and have that conversation and give them a chance to assess the individual situation and then take advantage of the opportunities, because it's kind of hard to discern and gauge at a distance as to who might be eligible and who might not be. But I think the best thing to do is to let people know that we have programs that are most likely suitable for their skills and their needs that they may have.
So if you feel as though you have a need, if you feel if you have a need, if you have a need, and you know, if you know of any persons or a group of people or an individual who is under your care or in conversations, around the table or anywhere,
your reading or your
mathematics,
mathematics,
encourage them to investigate
Absolutely.
the educational opportunities. We'll get to the numbers that they should call later on. Do you have something to add to the overview of the program? Anybody else has any?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
good.
if you do not have a high school diploma, if you're looking to access college, if you'd like to get training to get an entry-level job, basically, if you need to advance yourself academically, the EOC is the place for you.
Now, to someone who is well, not motivated towards GED, as I say, that's education. That I'm going to talk about mountains and rivers and so forth. I'm not interested in that. What is this anything for them in this program?
I would have to say yes.
Okay.
Because to the point that I'm hearing you make is that sometimes education can be perceived as a sort of a long-term investment, which it is, but people don't eat in the long term. They have to eat every day. And so I think it becomes very important for individuals who are interested in our programs to look at the ones that might be a quick fix to help them get through their day-to-day living. So we have security officer training. It's a 3-day course. You come for 3 days, you take the course, you can be certified, and of course you can go through there's some verification process that you have to go through. And once you get your license, you can begin to be employed into a security situation. That's a little bit different than having to go.
That's very very interesting and quick fix.
Well,
to get
person can eat right away. Person can eat right away.
It's for 3 days, you said?
It's a 3-day course, yes,
sir. A 3-day course.
8 hours, yes, sir.
And it can get you started.
That's correct. That's right. These are in-demand courses that we have at the Manhattan EOC, but I think also
is
my
that in
colleague from Queens has the
all
same.
boroughs?
Again,
that's in your programs
Yeah.
of all the
Yes.
responsibility?
We have the same
Yes.
security program.
Yeah.
Ours is 5 days,
Yeah.
but it's the same exact
Yes.
thing. It's
Listen
one of
here,
the,
gentlemen, and listen, ladies. This is important.
Right.
This is an important thing. Only 3 days will get you started in this program, and
And I just want to underscore
time.
one other point that I think is important. If someone works at McDonald's, for example, let's just say they work 80 hours a week, which is twice the full-time hours, 80 hours. Well, there are some programs at the EOCs that you could be certified in for 80 hours or maybe 100 hours, and you could be certified, and you can actually work a full-time job that will give you a credential, if you will, that is sort of a gainful, stackable credential for employment.
so you'll give them 3 days, and you'll give them a piece of paper, or
Well, that was
will
the
be,
example I used for security officer training. But there are some other programs that we have. We have certified nursing assistant, we have a home health aide, we have electronic health records, and so each of the EOCs have different programs. And so some of the programs last a little bit longer than others. I was only using the SOT as an example because it's sort of an immediate experience that one can get.
Yes.
And provided that they go through the class, and even though my colleague Dr. Jordan mentioned about 5 days for the Bronx and it's 3 days for us, it's probably based on the number of hours.
Yes.
But again, I don't know what the hours may be
Yes.
for his area, so that's what it is.
That's only a start for starters. We don't want you to ask to get the 3-day training and stop there. That is not the goal.
Exactly.
That is not the goal. The goal is to be started. You start with a 3-day program, and you can go on and
There you
on
go.
to a
That's
PhD,
That's right.
Very good.
or a master carpenter, or a master.
We heard some
Mason.
statistics from Dr. Graham early on that indicated the number of residents in the state as well as those in the city that are in need of looking for some type of program and service that may enable them to move forward. And while Security Guard is clearly one of the programs that we offer that is in high demand and can in fact help one to obtain employment quickly, we have an awareness that oftentimes people will go for what is the employment opportunity that exists right now because there is such a great need, but they still require the need to come back and earn that high school equivalency diploma, the GED that we're so accustomed to having known for for the last 71 years. And all of the ELCs around New York City do offer that. Statistically, in New York City, out of that 9 million that Dr. Graham had indicated earlier, depending upon which research you look at, and the most recent research I've looked at is probably dating back to about 2012, there's anywhere from perhaps maybe 1.3 to 1.6 million individuals in New York City that do not possess a high school equivalency diploma, which means that the demand is high. And as we all know, in the economy in which we exist, it is such a tremendous need for individuals to make sure that that credential is obtainable. And so those services and programs are offered that. All the EOCs, there are day programs, there are evening programs, there are all different types of formats for that. I'd also like to stress that many of us are high school equivalency testing sites as well, too. There is a new exam that is called the TASC exam that has replaced the GED. That was an exam. It's not the diploma. The diploma actually is achieved by taking an exam that was known as the GED exam that's no longer in New York State. Now that exam is called the Test Assessing Secondary Completion. And the access is as simple as, again, meeting the requirements to come into an EOC. I'm looking for a place in which to earn a high school equivalency. You can call it a GED. We're all going through that transition so far as a new name. And we are, I believe, an institution that really embraces individuals that understand. We understand the courage that it takes some time to do that, because you're talking about academic preparation that may be short-term for some, could be longer-term for others. And with this new exam that is a bit more rigorous than the GED exam as we knew it, we have found that there is a significant amount of success we are having making that transition to help people to earn that credential, which is most necessary.
Very good, very good. Now, that's in all of your centers.
Yes.
Yes.
You can access that in all of your centers. That's the anything that is specific to your centers. Now, I want to, there's the Bronx and there's Manhattan. Is there anything that is specific to your centers that you cannot get in other, which you get in Manhattan, which you can't get it in the Bronx, and Brooklyn?
I would like to address the question in this way.
Okay.
I would hope, considering all that we've been discussing thus far, especially with the comment that was made by Karia Ali, the demand is so great. I would be encouraged if students would take advantage of our opportunities wherever they would have the experience. And so I don't really look for what it is that we do in Manhattan that differentiates us from Brooklyn, Bronx, or Queens. I don't do that. I don't think that's a part of our habituation. I think what we really are trying to do here is to provide as much of a footprint as we possibly can. And if you can get that experience from Manhattan, then so be it. But we also refer students to the other EOCs, especially where we think that the geography is probably better suited.
Okay, okay. There's refer. So there is a referral.
Oh yeah, we work together.
There's a referral system.
And to Dr. Graham's point, in terms of the mission, the goal of the EOCs to be to open access. One of the populations that we find that, let's say if they're watching the show, they may think, well, this isn't for me because I have a criminal history, I've been incarcerated. One of the messages that we'd like to put forth is that if you have a criminal background, if you've been incarcerated, that should not deter you from coming to one of the EOCs. There are lots of programs, there's a lot of support, and there are a lot of employers that we work with who are looking for opportunities to help you and work with you. So don't be discouraged, and make that effort to reach out to an EOC that's closest to you.
All right. So now, let's walk through a program. Give me an example. I am a struggling boy, 17 years old, 18 years old, in the community.
Okay.
And I'm looking for employment, looking to uplift myself from where I am.
I will offer
what
you
what
one
do
example.
what do I do? And I think I use this example because with that example, it represents a lot of people in the various boroughs of New York.
One of the things that we do at the EOCs, one of the things that we do at the EOCs, and I'm sure my colleagues will agree, is that we help people reclaim their lives. That's what we are designed to do. That's what we do. So this 17-year-old that you just described, he or she may come to any one of our centers. And I think that the most important thing that we do is to have a conversation with this individual about what their interests might be. Oftentimes when people come to us, they're coming because of the point that you made earlier about maybe being neglected, you know, because of life's circumstances. And so if that person is coming because they felt like that they've been marginalized, well then there's an industry right now that is so important that I would talk to that 17-year-old about. And we've heard about the knowledge economy and all these other different economies. But there's an economy that very few people speak of, and that's called the care economy. We don't have enough people in this country that care as much as they should. Now, I'll be more specific, especially in the areas of allied health. And so one of the things that we do at the Manhattan EOC is that we've put in place electronic health records, certified nursing assistant, and home health aides, because we have people in the community that require health care but don't have the resources to actually go to a hospital and go to a clinic. And so that 17-year-old that you're talking about, if he or she wanted to, they could spend 6 to 7 weeks in the classroom learning how to be a certified nursing assistant or to provide that allied health care.
Okay, Dr.
And they
Graham,
can get into an employment situation.
I'm a student, and the health care, I don't have any money. I can't get there. What do I do? I'm trying to get to the program. And how many days you require me to come there?
Well,
what do I do?
I can tell you this. You're talking about cost, and the biggest cost, if you can pay attention, you can make it. Because the experience that I just mentioned, the certified nursing assistant, is a $4,000 investment that the student, the 17-year-old, does not have to pay. Thankfully, because of the leadership that we have from Dr. Susan Perkins and Lisa McKay in Albany, we have people that are championing our cause in Albany so that we can have the support resources that we need to provide that experience for that student. And so it's at no cost.
Would you pay my way to get there?
It's at no cost.
I'm coming from the east side, downtown, east side, New York, and
if you can pay attention.
Do I have to come to the program over there in Upper Manhattan?
I think one of the points that Dr. Graham stresses is that because we are very closely linked, what we would tend to do is refer a student to the closest EOC center, EOC, that he or she could actually, gain the most feasible access to. But for example, that very same 17-year-old young man, I could come, if he were to come into my center, would simply say, are you interested in becoming a barber? Because we have a barbershop program, and it takes about 5 months. If you are aware, in New York, that program can cost about $7,000 to $8,000 at a barbering school. Wow. At our center, it's completely free. So you would be able to come, take the courses, and in 5 months you would become a master barber. That same student, I could say, if you're interested in one of the health professions, we have an EMT program. You can do the same exact thing, and again, something that costs about $8,000 to $9,000 outside. Here, thanks to the state, to SUNY, you're going to be able to get this for free. And so, again, I think it becomes important that when you think of the Education Opportunity Center, the key word is the opportunity. The opportunity is there for you to obtain a certain level of education to enhance the quality of your life. And so all you have to do is, as Dr. Graham says, is come and receive it.
Okay. The question is that there's a question, this program is nearly 50 years old, right? It's almost 50 years old, and it's been around for a long time, and I'm motivated. There has to be some. I guess there has to be some motivation on my part, on my part, in order to access the program, and not only to access the program, but to sustain, to stay in the program until I can earn $20,000 or $17,000 to become a master barber or master program. Is there anything in the program that I have so much problem? My home is so much problem that some morning I sleep and I can't. Is there anything in the program or that can spur me on to continue the program? I mean, I don't feel like getting up this morning. So, I missed the program. I missed the program. I mean,
Yes, I could speak to that. So,
with your individual centers in the Bronx?
So when an applicant comes into an EOC, there's an intake process. And part of that intake process is understanding the person's background, academic background, and work history, and then trying to match that person up with what they'd like to be doing in the future. So at some point, they're either meeting with an academic advisor or a student advisor or admissions advisor and talking about that. And as that person gets enrolled, throughout that entire process and throughout that person's time at the EOC, that person will meet with an academic advisor or career advisor or job placement person, or go to the Attain lab to do some academic supports, or go to a learning center to get some tutoring. So all the individuals in the EOCs are not just getting support in the classroom in terms of instruction, but they're getting support in terms of either academic advising or sometimes some personal advising. And if we do not have in our center people to assist those students, then they also get referred out. So for students who have bigger issues than we can deal with on a daily basis, we refer them to our other partners that we work with. And partners could be dealing with immigration issues, with legal issues, with health issues, all kinds of situations. So we're a full-fledged support. The student does not just come in and go to class and that's it. We're providing academic and student supports throughout that student's time at the EOC to make sure that the person at the completion of the program is not only prepared to be a barber or to be a CNA, but that person is also prepared to work with other people. That person is prepared to ask questions when needed. That person knows what it's like to be on time. That person knows what it's like to take responsibility for himself or herself.
Very good, very good. Would you have something to add to this?
Well, I just thought as I was listening to my colleague Jacinth that workforce development or job readiness or the soft skills that we sometimes hear employers stating that they find difficult to observe in some of the staffs that they hire, and the turnover rate in terms of absenteeism and things of that nature. All the EOCs are sure to provide that type of programming for all of our students so that they are introduced to what the workforce would expect of them. The opportunity to be able to explore careers so that they do have their sights set on goals that will help them to either enter the workforce, or should it be that they would enter into our college preparation programs, wherein all of us are affiliated with an institution of higher education. We're part of SUNY, but here in New York City, we're also a part of sponsoring campuses that have opportunities for our students to attend, whether it be at the community college level or at the senior college level. And so there is a need, and actually what ends up coming from what I've observed is a desire that begins to build in our students because they find that they walked into an institution that's embraced them and that has, in many instances, observed in them what they did not believe was within themselves. We see it, and we mirror that back to our students, so they know that if there is some issue, because I don't like to use the word problems, you know, but if there's an issue that needs some attention, that they have someone that they can talk to, cares about what the outcome may be, whatever their situation may be, so that they are not necessarily suffering in silence. Again, reaching out to partners, or utilizing some of our very talented staff that we have. But workforce development, you know, if you look at higher education right now, there's an orientation to careers, even within the task examination. It's been changed so that it additionally now looks towards career and college readiness. We all know at the end of whatever our life has been in college, we've all attended college, you know, we're all a part of the institution right now. At the end goal of this, there is a means in which to support ourselves economically, to have a livelihood that will support our families, and to be personally enriched by whatever endeavor it is that we've chosen to enter. So we call it workforce development. Some may say it's getting a job. We want to help our students see beyond it being a job. We want for them to earn a gainful wage. We want for them to look at the inherent potential they have in which to study. Exactly. We are very much engaged with our student body in terms of, again, getting them to realize what dream there may be, you know, what potential there is that lies within them, and for them to feel that they're in a place that is supporting them to get there. And it extends beyond the EOC. It extends, again, to either our partnering institutions, to our higher education institution. And we, in fact, beyond the college preparation, we strive to work with our students throughout. We have alumni that for years can speak of the start that they obtained by entering into an educational opportunity center.
So how the question of access to the program and sustaining the person in the program, I think is important. How do you? So you said you would refer them to other organizations that this assessment needs, that pinpoints would indicate. Is there any follow-up on whether they go to the program or?
Well, we're not sending them away. We're sending them for some services that sometimes lie outside of the scope of what we offer within the institutions. So we are working with them jointly with that partnering agency to sustain their enrollment so that they do not have to leave the center.
Right.
That's what we're attempting to do.
And usually there is a counselor or a case manager that is assigned that could actually to a particular program. And out at the Bronx EOC, there's a counselor or case manager that's assigned to a particular program, and that responsibility is for that individual to continuously follow up with that student.
Yeah.
So how many students individually that you are capable of handling at this particular point?
I like the question of capability.
That's a very good question.
Well, you know how much you go ahead.
Remember the numbers I shared with you earlier. The numbers are very, very serious numbers. Right now, the Manhattan EOC is providing services for just about 2,000 students, but I can tell you that we would like to have that number hover around 4,000.
Yes, because the need is
to know that we're making an impact. Yeah, I think that would be a fair and reasonable number.
What prevents you from?
Well, no.
This is to all of you.
No,
what prevents you from?
It is the messaging, and the other thing too. I will speak for the Manhattan EOC, and my colleagues can speak to theirs. But we are located in the Adam Clayton Power Jr. State Office building. Right?
I saw your ad.
It's a fantastic building in the center of Harlem, and I like that building to the Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty is about liberation, and that is exactly what the Adam Clayton Power Jr. State Office building is for when it comes to being placed in Harlem, in the center of, you know, Harlem is sort of like a mecca for Black America, if you will. And so there's something very symbolic about that building. And so my job has always been, and will continue to be, is to get our members of the community to see that building as a problem-solving enterprise, and that they should come in and see what we have to offer, and let's help them reclaim their lives. And so we're not sitting on the ground level. We're not a college, but we're located inside of a building where we're doing fantastic work.
So you have
and
about
so
2,000.
The capability is based on
2,000 registered.
That's right. But we want to get that number to 4,000 to be healthy.
But you would like that.
That's right.
I'll come back to you and ask you what prevents you from reaching your 4,000.
There's a lot of 17-year-olds like you described.
I'll come back. What about you?
Okay, so last year we serviced about 800 enrolled students. And again, we work on a projected number, and this is, again, based on budget, based on staffing, based on location, things like that. There are a lot of variables that go into the number of allocated students that you actually would have to actually meet a particular objection. But again, just like Dr. Graham pointed out, I too would like to see that number double. And again, it's not because of a personal thing. It's like, as he stated, there's such a great need for students out there to actually receive the kind of information and kind of programming that we're providing. So I would like to see the number double as well.
Coming to you, but are you bombarded? Do you get 4,000 people who apply, who come to the place, and you have to turn them away, or what? Or are they not coming?
Let me tell you, we have applications of students who are interested, and that number is over 5,000 applications.
Okay.
And so our goal is to convert the number of students who are interested. We have to convert them. And that's not something that really for them to do. That's something that we've been doing, and we've been working assiduously to do that. And so again, if we have 5,000 individuals that are interested in us, then that means that we have a part of the market share in the community that's doing this kind of work. Because we're not the only adult education center in
interested.
Harlem.
Do you have to turn them away then?
No, we don't have. No, we're not turning anyone.
Yeah, but
no.
you get 2,000 people, and you have 5,000 applicants.
Right.
How does it get down to $2,000 if you're not turning them away?
Because we live in a world of choices, and people will exercise their choice. Why do we go to the stores that we choose to go to? We choose them because of a product, because of a service, and because of a delivery. And so we're working to improve that, and I think we've begun to do that significantly. And so we want to make sure that we convert those applications because we have a huge market share.
Mm-hmm. So in essence, someone would actually might fill out the application, but might not necessarily follow through.
Exactly.
And so therefore, what happens is he's saying is Dr. Graham is trying to put forth the initiative to now try to follow up with the students who've actually filled it out, because someone might have expressed an interest, but might not necessarily come and follow through with the whole process of coming down to the center, filling out the application, and so forth.
So I come. What from your perspective? What?
Well, demand is high. You know,
Demand,
people that, again,
yes.
do not possess high school equivalency diplomas, people that are out of work, people that are working part-time looking to become full-time employees, people that are interested in attending college. So all of us, I'm sure, have an excess of applicants. I know in Queens, for our fall term currently, we've had about 1,700 people that have applied, and currently we have about 350 that are enrolled. During the course of this entire year, we anticipating serving, so far as what our budget may indicate, approximately 800 individuals. But beyond that, we, in Queens, are also the largest high school equivalency testing site in New York State and in New York City. So that is an additional at least 5,000 individuals that will come through our center that we try very hard to approach and to inform about the opportunities, not just at the Queens Educational Opportunity Center, because again, we draw from all over New York City to take this exam, but where they can access higher education opportunities, and particular to study for the task examination at the other centers. So in many ways, not that I'm saying that somebody who's applying for the Manhattan EOC is also applying for the Queens EOC, whatever Queens perhaps can sustain, perhaps Manhattan can. So we're constantly collaborating and connecting with one another in terms of trying to place that individual whose motivation has inspired that person not only to apply but to follow through with the process, because you do have to meet our eligibility criteria in order to be eligible. There are some individuals that, and opportunities to provide community service for some people as well too, that have demonstrated a need, and often that might be, as funds allow, in order to help them to achieve entry. It may be that they have a low reading score, so there are tutorial supportive services that are provided to them. But the demand is enormous in New York City, and I think in all the boroughs. I can't think of any one borough that, in fact, has the amount of resources that provide the capacity for the need as it exists in New York City currently.
And just as a note, our colleague that's from the North Bronx does just that. The majority of the work that they do in the North Bronx EOC is based on community service. And it's outreach to the community to provide a service to the community.
And you?
So we're in downtown Brooklyn, 111 Livingston Street, and we enrolled last year 1,300 students. We currently have over 600 enrolled in this semester, and we serve anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 students. 30% of our students are in our college preparation program. So we're getting them ready to take college entrance exams. We're preparing them not only for the exams, but to be able to navigate being in college. We are going over things like how to apply for college, how to apply for financial aid, how to choose your major, and then once you're in college, what should you do? Because we don't want our students to drop out. So we're looking at getting them prepared so when they're in college, they stay there and they complete their 2 years or 4 years.
I see. So in barbering and so forth, you access community services. I mean, you engage community services into
yes,
to complete your program.
And it's organic when we do it. It's natural because where we are in Manhattan, and we have a lot of we're near NYCHA housing, New York City Housing Authority housing. And so anytime there is an educational fair or any event where we can have a chance to share information about our programs, especially to community residents, we take full advantage of it. And so that's one of the things we're doing. A new program that we're working on now is developing a literacy course for senior citizens, because we're noticing now that there's a high number of men and women who've sort of retired, but they may not have financially saved up for their retirement. And so some of them want to come back into the workplace, but they want to come back in a very modest way. They want to do part-time work. And so we want to help them improve their reading and writing so that they can get back into the workforce. And we're developing a course with Abyssinian Development Corporation just for seniors.
Yeah. You didn't get, I don't think I felt as though I didn't get an answer to this problem. I was a student and I had problems getting to the programs. How do you have any assistance? In other words, do you have any assistance for a person who are really desirous of coming to your program, desirous of advancing in life, but I don't know how many days a week do you require them to come there?
You're talking about the fund section. With HRA, for example, if a person is on HRA as part of Human Resources Administration, let's say you were receiving some type of public assistance.
Yeah.
If you were that individual, HRA would actually, if you were signed up to a particular program, they would actually provide you with transportations to and from the actual facility. So that is one particular option to actually getting, you're talking about physically getting transportation to the facility. If you were a member or you signed up with HRA, that's an opportunity for you to actually get a Metro card that would get you to and from the EOC.
We're all tuition free. And as several of my colleagues have mentioned, students who come to our programs are getting something that might cost them $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, depending on what program they're in, and they're getting it totally free. So we would love to be able to provide transportation for everybody, but our current funding doesn't allow that. So we encourage students to get other sources to be able to get their transportation.
Yes.
And in some instances, we might help to create the career path. As an example, you're an individual who's interested in improving yourself presently. It may be employment. So it may be that since the hardship might be transportation, that you might enter our security guard training program. Because in 3 short days, and then with the turn of getting your license, in fact, you may then become employed. And then once you're employed, then you have the means to be able to come back to the EOC for what might be a longer range program. It might involve come to the ATTAIN lab, the Advanced Training Technology Networking lab that provides all kinds of Microsoft certification. As we all are aware, technology is something that we all have to be able to grasp.
Yes.
It's involved in no matter what career and which doorway you may pass through, you need to be, I won't say technology savvy, but you of course need to have as many skills as you can possibly bring. And there are plenty of people that, you know, can text, but they don't have keyboarding skills. These are opportunities in which to, again, often in short-term attendance, like during the summer, we have what's called the Summer Institute, and in about 3 to 4 weeks, one is able to come in and literally participate in a program that will help them to obtain a certificate that is delivered to them from Microsoft. It's not the Queens EOC certificate, it's not the Manhattan EOC certificate, and those programs are being held all throughout the year in which one, again, can, in a short time frame, I've had students that have told me they've walked to the EOC. They've walked 2 miles, 2.5 miles, depending upon the weather. We don't expect that during the winter. But someone who's motivated and finds that they have found the right place that is providing, and not just professing to provide something that is obtainable in many instances, helps that person to be able to find the means by which to attend.
Could I add something just
Sure.
real briefly? And something else that that folks should keep in mind as they look at going to the EOCs and they compare us with other, you know, adult education offerings or other educational offerings. The staff, the quality of staff that EOCs have, the vetting process is much different than you'll find with other educational offerings. You have faculty who have years of experience, the credentials to really work with you and to help you along and provide you that support so you can stay motivated, so you can persist and get that credential or whatever else that you need in order to take that next step and get to the next level in your life and career.
And I want to make one quick point
Oh, sure.
that's so important that crosses all of what we do, and that's working with immigrant populations.
Okay.
We did a survey at the Manhattan EOC, and we have students represented by 60 different countries at the Manhattan EOC. And I know my colleagues are doing the same thing, because I know that
Right.
Brooklyn and Queens and Bronx, you know, we are living in a global society, and so we don't want to not have that message permeate the listeners that if you're from an immigrant population, first generation, second generation, third generation, it doesn't matter. You can still be very much welcomed and open to our opportunities at our prospective centers.
Right, right. Now, we're coming towards the end of the program. Do you have any specific message that you want to give to the young people out there? Anyone in particular? In particular, who want to give a message that would encourage the people to come to your program?
I will say this. The world's population is over 7 billion people.
Yes.
And if someone gave you a photograph of the world's population, what would you do? You would look for yourself in that picture. That's what the EOCs are doing. We're helping people find themselves in the world's picture. So my suggestion is to come to any one of the EOCs that you have here represented today and take a full opportunity to reclaim your life, because that's what we're doing. That's what we do every day.
And I just want to stress that one of the mantras that we have is that it's absolutely free. You're not paying for textbooks. There are things that you would normally have to incur, courses you would have to incur, that you're not going to have to incur here. And so when you have something that is presented to you that is absolutely free of charge, we often ask, well, then what's the excuse? Because again, this is a service that's being provided to you. All you have to do, as Dr. Graham says, is just walk through the doors and make yourself available and seek the opportunity that's before you.
Could I go now around the room and tell the people who are viewing this program, how do they access your individual program?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
How do you access your program?
Okay.
How do you access your
You can go on the website. It's www.eoc.suny.edu. And also the number to our registrar's office is 212-961-4341.
Could you repeat that again?
www.eoc.suny,
Slower, please.
SUNY.edu, or you can just Google Manhattan Educational Opportunity Center. It'll come up.
Okay.
But also the number for the registrar's office is area code 212-961-4341.
So the Bronx EOC, the same exact thing. You can Google us as well. You will see our webpage. We also have a Facebook page. We ask you to go ahead and join the Facebook page. It's Bronx EOC. The phone number is 718-530. And I know they're probably going to kill me, but I think it's 7040. I'm the newest one here. So 718-530-7040.
Okay. Repeat it again, just in case for someone who, because I know I have difficulty sometimes getting it from the television, and someone mentioned it, I listen to it again.
Surely. 718-530-7040.
Thank you.
The Queens EOC is located in downtown Jamaica in the transportation hub. I think anyone who knows where either the movie theater is or where the Parsons Boulevard MTA subway station is, we're right in that huge retail complex. We're on the Archer Avenue side. You can reach us by Googling us, or you can go to our website at queenseoc.net. And you can contact our admissions office at 718-725-3320. Again, that's 718-725-3320.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brooklyn EOC is at 111 Livingston Street in downtown Brooklyn. We're accessible by all major subway lines and major bus lines. We are 718-802-3330. You can email us at admissions@beoc.cuny.edu.
Thank you very much. Well, I hope that our program this afternoon was informative and it would inspire people to contact your various agencies to access this program. You won't be turned away. I want to tell you that. So come and call this number, call the numbers that you have received, call any one of the numbers that you have received, and you will be referred and placed in a program that will be beneficial for you. So please do it. At this time, I would like to thank the panel who have explained the program to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
for
I hope to have
having us.
you back again
Yes.
We look forward to that.
soon. And I want this program to be dedicated to him. He is the inspiration, our inspiration, to have this program here in Manhattan to help the younger people to get on the right track and to improve their employment, career, and their education. So thank you very much.